Luke Matthews.
Shannon, as you took us on the journey, I was very much sucked into the story with your hand gestures, the voice inflections, and everything else, and being able to relate to the story because I've traveled. So everything from the get-go was the security line and everything else. I noticed one thing you said, I needed my passport and driver's license, and I'm like, well, you would need your boarding pass too on a technical thing. I was like, you might want to take your boarding pass, and that would allow you to get through the gate. It's just a technical thing, but because I traveled, I was like, wait a second. So that's a feedback, just something small. I caught that. But from the get-go, I was like, man, I can totally relate to the security line, and then you finally get through it, and after you get filled up and everything else, you get on the plane, right? But you get that brief period where you're like, and you analyze people, right? I do the same things, like, well, okay, because I'm always thinking from a Marine's perspective, like, which one's going to get crazy on the plane? So I'm always looking, but you analyze people, right? So it's totally true, and I related to that, and it was good stuff. I just felt good because I wasn't the only one that did it, so it made me feel like I was part of a team there. One thing that I could recommend, everything, you sucked me into the story, and I was just following, like, it was very entertaining. When you were talking about the big guys, you were still kind of, when you have that and they sit down next to you, you know what I mean? You were still kind of, I would call it uptone, where your gestures, you were saying things, but when you have the big guy and they smell, you're just like, and this just got it. Maybe slow down and go down, what I would call down tone. Maybe soften the voice and just be like, this really sucks. You know what I mean? You were like, this sucks. This is horrible. So that's what I would recommend during that part. And just kind of draw it down a little bit more and make it seem more sucky, if that was a good way to say it. Because that's definitely, everyone's had that experience that they've traveled a lot. With that, that's the only other thing. One other recommendation is, it was a very, very entertaining story, but I'm sitting there like, what do I take away from this? Like, what do I walk away with, At the end, if you could tie it into, like, no matter what, you go through all this stuff, but whenever you arrive at your destination, it's all worth it, or something, what can I walk away and, like, put in my back pocket and use it later? That's the only other thing I can recommend. Other than that, everything from the get-go to the ending, it sucked me in, and I really enjoyed it. It was a fun story. Thank you. Do I just sit down now?
Yes. Take a minute of silence.